All right, guys, we're going to wait about 2 more minutes. We have a lot of people that are dialing in, so give it about 2 more minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and start this webinar. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining our exclusive sneak peek webinar. This webinar should only last about 45 minutes, yet we do have a lot of people on, so we will try to stay on after to get to most of the questions at the end. All the microphones have been muted during this webinar, so if you have any questions, please fill them out in the question box to the right-hand side of your screen. Our goal today is to show you a simple way to create a customer-centric experience online for your prospects that will generate more leads, in addition give you far more information than a name, a phone number, and an email address, which is what most dealerships only get right now with online leads. So we're going to dissect a typical lead from a dealership, and at most, maybe we get a phone number, an email address, and what vehicle they're particularly interested in. So who am I, and what is our agenda? So our biggest challenge today, and we're going to go over this in the auto industry, is how we communicate with our customers. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to present some data around that. We're going to spend a little bit of time analyzing a typical dealership's website. I'm going to show you one of our customers' websites that has a very good site, but some of the information that we're not displaying to the customer that we need to get in front of them. We're then going to go into what limitations, why your BDC sales staff is not closing as many online leads as they should be, and then why all of you guys got on this is I'm going to showcase to you a real-time view of car shoppers interacting with your online inventory. So how did this all come about? So, and who am I? I'm the president of J&L Marketing here. Obviously, I've been a speaker at a lot of conventions, and similar to many of you all on the line, I've been in the car business most of my life. Not on the dealership side, but on the marketing side. I started working at J&L at age 15 in the print shop, and I grew up here. So I've had a lot of different jobs at the company, from starting in the print house to customer outreach, within doing sales in 7 different territories, working with different and large auto groups and manufacturers such as FCA, BMW, Mercedes, and General Motors, and then, of course, large dealer groups. Yet, over the course of the past year, year and a half, I've completely focused my efforts in a completely different area of the business. Prior to last year, I was specifically concentrated with customer outreach and key accounts, as well as being a speaker at many of those conventions. But about 2 years ago, I watched a 60-minute special on Sergio Marchionne, CEO at FCA. If you guys have not seen this, this was filmed in about 2012. He was extremely interested. I was so impressed that Sergio went against the grain. If you watch the special, he talks about how he didn't take the big office in the ivory tower like most CEOs had done in the past at FCA. He didn't focus all his efforts on sales and marketing, but instead he wanted to be right there close to the production, specifically the engineering department. So on this special, it talks about how his office was right there next to the head of engineering, and he spent most of his time when he was in the States with the engineers. So this got me to think. And why am I telling you this? Well, this is what I've exactly done for the last year. I retired those airline miles for long nights at the office with our developers, focusing on what I heard for years from dealers is the biggest challenge, as well as taking my marketing expertise of 15 to 20 years to build products that generate better quality leads. To me, there had to be a simple way that dealerships could create a more customer-centric experience for their customers, yet in return generate more leads that give you far more than name, phone number, and email. One of the challenges that I saw in the industry was the 1.4. This stat's beaten to our death. I think I hear it at every single conference. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is not only did I want to look at this number, I wanted to better understand why. Why is it that 10, 15 years ago, consumers went to 4+ dealerships before they purchased a car, and that number's dropped all the way down to 1.4, which means many customers are only going to 1. What happened during this process? So there's a lot of social factors. I pulled this up from Car Buying Journey. 36% of new car buyers consider both new and used. 55% of used car buyers consider both new and used. 52% of all buyers test drive only one vehicle, and 38% of all buyers went to the dealership where they purchased. So all these things from a dealership and floor traffic obviously will hurt us, which in the end, as most of us all know, is the customers nowadays are coming to your lot already knowing what vehicle, what model, and what payment they should be paying. So they're getting this information somewhere. So I wanted to learn a little bit more, and then I'll show you kind of where we're going with this and how we can actually map out the car customer buying journey on your dealership's website, and you don't have to switch website providers. But I wanted to understand, what are customers researching online? So if I'm going to market to them and get them to respond to me and spend more time on my website, because the average customer is visiting over 20 sites when they're looking for a car, but only 2 to 4 of them are actual dealerships' websites. So I wanted to understand what they're actually looking at. Well, 71% of the consumers were researching car pricing. 68% find actual vehicles listed for sale. 64% of them compare different models. 63% of them find out what are researching to find out what their current car is worth. They want to know, if I traded in that 2012 Honda Accord, what is that Honda Accord worth? And 46% of them locate a dealer or get dealership information. So with all that data now, I want to come to a hypothesis. And I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but this is a recent LinkedIn post. I think 10 or 20 people on LinkedIn have authored it. And it really got me thinking. And essentially what it does is it compares companies like a Netflix and Blockbuster, and it basically elaborates in a little bit more detail about what truly killed that company. So right here it says Netflix did not kill Blockbuster, ridiculous late fees did. Uber did not kill the taxi business, limited taxi access and fare control did. And you can read all of them, but the parallel here is technology by itself is not the real disruptor. Not being customer-centric is the biggest threat to any business. So how does this relate to a car dealership? And we all do it. Is what this means to me, and what I truly believe is, the truth is the internet and third-party websites are not killing dealership website and forward floor traffic. What's killing dealership traffic is a failure to provide a customer-centric marketing campaign. Essentially, what we're trying to do right now in the auto industry is we're trying to get consumers to do what they don't want to do, which is come to your dealership for a test drive or schedule an appointment. And the data all says they're not going to do that. So I'm going to walk you through, and it's actually one of the better websites out there of a dealership that we're very close to. Their website, and every dealership looks like this, and we have to ask ourselves how customer-centric it is, and then I'm going to show you what we've developed that we're rolling out that can work on your existing website, but more importantly, not only give information to the customer, but give information to you as a dealership, as a BDC department, as your salespeople to actually sell that customer. So let me pull up right here. One of our friends and very close customers is Johnson City Honda in Tennessee. Johnson City Honda is one of the largest dealerships in Tennessee. They just redesigned their website, and it looks fantastic. But similar to many dealerships, there are a few limitations that if we really take a step back and say, is this website customer-centric? Is this what the customer wants? So as we all would say, I'm going to pretend to be a customer. So I'm going to go on Johnson City Honda, and I'm going to click New Inventory. I'm interested in a new car. And when I go on to New Inventory, the first thing that I'm going to see is cars pull up right here that says Call for Price. Well, we just went over a stat that said 71% of the consumers out there want to look for price. So I'm going to do a quick poll out there for all the dealerships participating on your current website. I'm going to pull up this poll. On your current website, I want you guys to tell me if you guys are advertising payment, price, call for price, or call for price and price. Right now, we have 38% that said payment, 56% said price, 13% said call for price, and 18% said call for price and price. So very similar to what the data says is most dealerships are advertising a price, followed by call for price and payment. So if you look at Johnson City, absolutely, they're doing very similar to what most dealerships will do, which after we get through the call for price, we're showing prices. Yet, we have to ask ourselves, your current customers, are they, and I'm going to launch this, would you consider your current customers to be payment shoppers? In other words, are you looking to stay between a payment range? Let's answer that question. Right now, we have 100% yes. %, yes. 94% yes. So if we know that 94% of our customers are payment driven, what we want to think about is how can we give this information to the customer knowing that they're looking for a payment, not necessarily a price. Now, Johnson City's done a good job is they've put a calculator on here. So they have a calculate payments like many dealerships, but there's a few limitations from the customer's standpoint. Number one is most consumers don't know what interest rate they qualify for. The average life cycle that someone turns over a car is about 6 years. So all they know is what they had before, and as we know, interest rates begin to vary. So here is what ends up happening is a guess game for the consumer. So what ends up happening here is the consumer has no idea what to put in terms of an interest rate. So either A, they jump off onto Honda.com to get this information, or Edmunds or a website like that, or B, what they'll do is they'll go to the website where it says Honda incentives, they'll put their zip code in and they'll identify it. But this website has all this information here, but is it easy for the customer to actually navigate through? When I show you what we've kind of developed with the reporting, on average, we're having customers stay on the site for well over 10 minutes, which brings me to another question. At your dealership, what is the average time that the customer typically spends on your website, according to Google Analytics? Right now we have 70% say 3 to 6 minutes. So the goal is, guys, is right now, we talked about the data before, only 2 to 4 dealerships are people going to. 10 years ago, people actually went to 4+ dealerships. So how can we give that consumer more and more information? And the majority of you guys, number one, 63% was 3 to 6 minutes, 19% was 0 to 3. It's how can we keep that customer on that page a little bit longer? I'm going to go back to that Honda Civic, and I'm going to close this up. The next thing that we know based off the 5 online shopper behaviors is customers want to know how much their car is worth. Again, Johnson City does a great job of having value your trade. But I'm going to put 2012 Honda Accord in here. And the dreaded landing page screen where I have to give up all my information just to find out what my car is worth. So as a result, customers bounce off the site because there's free sites out there like Kelley Blue Book that can give me all of this information without giving my firstborn kid my phone number and my email address. So where I'm trying to go with this is it's similar to the Facebook model. Mark Zuckerberg said, listen, I'm going to give consumers all this for free. And in return, Mark knew what he was doing. He was gathering data, which he can use in his benefit for advertisers such as J&L and for dealerships. So I'm going to show you how we can give the customers information on your site, but in return, you're going to get information that you've never had before at your fingertips. So let's compare that to this site. So what we're advertising to the customer, and this can be on a subdomain of your website, it can be that same widget of value your trade, is what we're going to tell the customer is they can alleviate the stress of comparing vehicles and payments. We're going to show them every vehicle on their lot, what that new monthly payment's going to be. They can find out what their car is worth. They can even find out how much equity they have in their vehicle and apply that equity as a down payment for their next car, all at their fingertips. Remember, this is all information not only that your competitors can't offer, but more importantly, the admins and the auto traders can't. Auto Trader and Cars.com is going to give the customer pretty much similar information that your website has, the price and the videos. So I am going to put my information in as a lead, and I'm going to click to see my vehicles.
Welcome to one of the most
So as we're finding our next vehicle, what the first thing that you'll see is all of the payments have showed up. For every vehicle that's on your lot, you will now have new monthly payments. As a consumer, since we're all payment driven, especially after we took our poll, we're now able to adjust based off of $200 to $350. I can add a down payment of, say, $5,000, and I can change my term to 40 months. So from the consumer standpoint, we're going to keep that customer on this site much longer. So where is the benefit to you as a dealer? Obviously, you're giving this information now. So in return, how is there a benefit to you? Well, let me show you what that benefit is. Now, I signed in as Jamil Zab. You guys all saw that. As I'm loading up my reporting dashboard, I'm going to do a couple other clicks. I'm going to add a trade-in, and I'm going to add a 2015, and I'm going to do a Honda Accord. And it's going to be an EXL 4-door V6 with navigation. And I have 30,000 miles on my Accord. And I haven't paid it off yet. So I'm going to have the system automatically calculate what it is. And I bought it in December, let's say September of 2016, and I paid $350 a month, and I did a 60-month term, and my interest rate was a 3.9. I'm going to add that trade in, and instantly the system is going to populate what that trade-in value for that Accord is, the amount owed, and the equity, and it will instantly show all of the vehicles. So what? Why is this important to me? Well, as a BDC department, one of the things, or salespeople, one of the hardest things to do is call a customer off of a web lead or a third-party lead. A lot of times, all we know is what vehicle they were interested in, only that vehicle. 10 years ago, we had a luxury of when that person came on your lot, you could spend an hour, hour and a half with them and know all the vehicles that they viewed and they looked at, where they were trying to stay between, and so on. So we have that luxury nowadays that, we had that luxury back then that we never, ever, ever had before. So what I have here is I'm going to show you my reporting dashboard. So when I went on as that customer and instantly viewed that vehicle, now as a dealership, I have the ability to be able to see at my fingertips as that customer is going through this in real time exactly what Jamil Zabane is looking at. So I jumped on the site right around 2:20. I modified my finance. I was looking at purchase from $200 to $350. I then modified it, and I added a trade-in, which was the Honda Accord. So I'm going to do this side by side now with you to show you how real time this is. So I'm now going to look at this 2014 Honda Accord. I'm going to adjust my down payment to $3,000. And you know what? I don't have Tier 1 credit. I don't have the best of credit. I'm a Tier 3 customer, and I get to instantly see that my payment's now $281. And I want to go back to my search results and view some more vehicles and look at some more vehicles. So I'm going to expand my search now to $500. All right, so I'm going to go back to that reporting dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and refresh, and instantly right then and there, I can see all those actions that I just took. I viewed that Honda Accord sedan. I then modified my payment from $200 to $350. I changed my credit tier to 3 from 1, and I modified my down payment as well, and I moved up my monthly payment to $500. As a BDC department or as a salesperson, this is all you need to give you confidence to call that person up. Not only are we giving the information to the customer the way they want the information, which is show me what I'm out of pocket. Show me what my payments are with the incentives included, with my trade-in, with my equity. What am I going to be paying per month? But furthermore, using advanced technology like this as a dealership, you now have technology at your fingertips that you've never had before. I brought up earlier about Google Analytics. You know, you might have 3,000 people visit your website. All you know is limited information, how many conversions you had, what the average session time is. It's very hard for you to say, okay, for this particular lead, did he spend an hour and 5 minutes on my website, and what other vehicles did he view? What the great thing about this is if you're a dealership and you see what the customer was doing during that duration, now you're able to effectively have a conversation with that customer and redirect the customer knowing exactly what they looked at. I'll show you even a little bit more. So we have the ability to get lower payment quotes. So if I click Get a Lower Payment Quote, like many of you all have on your current website, a lead is automatically sent to the dealership. But more importantly, in our tracking history for Jamil Zabaneh, I will instantly be able to see that Jamil Zabaneh has requested a lower payment quote. I also have the ability, and I'm going to show you right here, Jamil Zabaneh requested a lower payment quote. Our phone calls are completely integrated in this dashboard. So on this site, you're going to have where the customer can call a phone number. All of that's going to go directly into this dashboard where right then and there, you can listen to calls such as this.
Thank you for calling. To ensure the highest level of customer care.
92 set. 3 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday. The service and parts department are open from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and 7:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday and Thursday, and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. We are closed on Sunday. Please select Sales Manager.
Thank you for calling Johnson City Honda. This is Brittany. How can I help you?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Susan. Well, I just went on my website that y'all just gave me, and I found a deal y'all have on your lot. And it was a Ford Escalade, a 2007 Ford Escalade. I went in there, I did everything it said to do as far as customize your payment, stuff like that.
Do you mean the Ford Escape?
Huh?
Do you mean the Ford Escape?
Yeah. The 2007 model. Okay, I put my Cadillac as a trade-in and everything. It gave me the value of what it would be, and the payoff was $389.99. What it said the amount owed would be $390, and it still leaves the equity of $1,030 on the car to go on to the Escalade. The payment I picked out was $107 a month for 72 months, but when I did the Cadillac as the trade-in on it, it said it dropped it down to $86 a month.
Right, because your Cadillac would work as like money down for you, so it helped take the payment down. Are you available to come by and let us appraise your Cadillac while you test drive the Ford Escape?
Yeah, that will be fine. We can do that.
Okay, perfect. What's your name?
Susan Wheeler, because y'all gave me a webpage of it's Susan Wheeler 8538 is what I went on, and I found this in here, and I did all that.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about, Susan. Okay, perfect. What time can you be here?
Well, it's 11:06 right now.
So this dealership obviously did a great job, and this appointment was set in under 2.5 minutes. The customer went on that site, plugged in their current vehicle minus their equity, and they were shocked to see how much their new monthly payments would be. So for a lot of us understand data mining and equity calculations out there. The problem with your data mining and equity calculations is it only data mines your database, and it only hits on people that with no money down can get in a similar car with a lower payment. What this allows us to do is put this into customers' hands and allow them to pick from all of your inventory that you have. Because we all know that just because a customer owns a Honda Accord, they're not always going to own that Honda Accord. What you're also going to see with this dashboard is right here you can prioritize your leads. So with the click of a button, I can see, all right, who are all my top customers that viewed vehicle detail pages? Who are the people that selected lower payment quotes? What's the information about them? By utilizing this type of technology that can go on your website, it makes it very, very easy now for you to track all online activity, which is what your customer wants and what your BDC and your sales staff needs. As promised, Our webinar was only going to be about 40 minutes. Do we have any questions that we want to ask? All right, we have one question. The question centers around how is this set up? So very similar to any dealership's website where you have a widget on your site, similar to the trade-in offer widget, we're able to put this on your website. So if you have customers that want to shop by payment and they want all this at their fingertips, it's another way to generate leads through your website. And then, of course, the minute you generate that lead, you'll have all that activity that follows. We have another question right here. Does any of this take place on your website or is it external? So what we ask dealerships to do is set up a subdomain on their website. So, for instance, with this dealership, it would be upgrade.johnsoncityhonda.com. So when the customer would click that banner ad or whatever ad that you want to put, shop by payment, it would be directed to upgrade.johnsoncityhonda.com, but the actual content would live on J&L's servers. So it would be pointing to our IP address, but to the consumer, they're still on johnsoncityhonda.com. So we integrate with all the website providers out there, and from a dealership, it's very, very quick setup. Right now, currently, a lot of dealerships are using this is we're marketing to these customers, sending them to that subdomain site, even with email, doing a Pearl, where you'll generate leads of conquest or previous customers. But you can also use it for your individual website. Great question. Somebody asked, is the reporting real time? Yes, it is. I kind of showed it just a minute ago. All of the reporting is done fairly real time within seconds. So the minute that lead comes in and prior to your BDC picking up the phone or your salesperson coming in, they can refresh their screen and they can see exactly that way they're armed with the right script and what they want to talk about. So if the customer requests a lower payment quote on the Honda Accord, and after talking to them for 5 to 8 minutes, the Honda Accord's not going to work, instead of hanging up that conversation, we can say, knowing that the customer also looked at the pilots, say, hey, listen, we have great specials on our SUVs, specifically our Honda Pilot. Were you interested in any of those? Do you have any? Do you do any styling to make it appear like you're still on the website, or does the tool always look different? Yes, the tool, we have manufacturer-specific coloring, so it's not going to match your website to a T, but it will. For example, most of these widgets that you buy for a website, like this, it lacks a lot of, some branding. So it will have the same color schemes as like Honda or Toyota will have. We had a great question. Will J&L offer any training to BDC employees? Absolutely. Part of what we're going to be doing is doing a monthly call with the team to walk them through how to use this dashboard, how to read the dashboard. We're always looking for new ideas on what are some additional features that this dashboard can offer. And then we also have some sales scripts that we have from some great sales trainers. It says Johnson City Honda. Let me see. It says, how do you access your tool from johnsoncityhonda.com? We can't find the CTA. So currently, right now, we haven't loaded the banner ad on Johnson City Honda. So the way it would work is J&L would create the banner ads for you. Currently, Johnson City is using it for marketing purposes of direct mail and email. But very shortly, they have a scrolling banner up here. We're going to build a banner ad for them to put on this site, as well as build banner ads for them to put on the vehicle inventory page. So again, it's not taken away from your current website. It's enhancing it and hopefully getting these people not to click off and go on competitors' websites, Honda's websites, Blue Books, thecars.com, and the Auto Traders. We want to give all this information to these customers. Great question. Somebody asked a question about incentives. We get all of our incentives from Chrome, and obviously with the trade-in values, that's connected directly to API functionality. So all these incentives are updated in real time from Chrome, which are the manufacturer incentives that are plugged in. Even as a dealership, you're able to adjust, for instance, right now, I'm going to show you an example here. For a new only Honda Fit, we're showing a 1.9% interest rate, or a Honda Civic showing 0.9. And the dealership can also set, if there's not an OEM incentive available, what they want that constant rate to be. So a dealership decides at Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, do we want to offer the OEM incentives? And we can separate out cash incentives and APR incentives. And then as well as if we're not going to offer the OEM incentives, what do we want that constant rate to be? So for instance, with this dealership, at Tier 4 credit, the interest rate would be 7%. I have a question. What is the cost, and is there a contract? Great question. Just for the website and for the tracking tool, it's $495. And there's no long-term monthly contract. It's month-to-month with a 30-day opt-out. So it's $495. We're doing that as a special right now as we're releasing it. Some of our dealerships, like the one I brought up earlier, does do a lot of marketing with this program. So what they want to do is they see this as a great lead gen opportunity. So we're doing direct mail and email and sending these people to this website. So it can be a great conquest play as well as a previous customer play. Great question, Cynthia. Does selecting your credit rating tier convert better than plugging in your specific interest rate? The reason why we did the different tiers is most of the consumers don't necessarily know, if you look at a lot of the data, what interest rate they can get into. So most people know if they have fairly good credit, if they have poor credit. So obviously that's on us to be able to put that information in. And I use that as an example with that dealership's website. If I bought a car 7 years ago, I know back then I got it at 4.9, but I have no clue what it takes now to get into 0.9. So that's the reason why we went to that model. And then, of course, we disclaim at the very bottom all the disclaimers that, not everybody can qualify, and then that, the goal of this is an estimator for the customer. Great question. Make sure I've gotten through all the questions. I believe that is it. Guys, I'm going to give everybody here my email address here at J&L. If you have any further questions that you want to talk about, my email address is Zabinay, Z as in zebra, A as in apple, B as in boy, A as in apple, N as in Nancy, E as in Edward, H as in horse, at jnlmarketing.com. Hopefully, whether this is something that you like or something that you want to use, hopefully the goal that I kind of get across today is, as dealerships, we have to start advertising and speaking to our customers the way they want to be communicated to. So if they want payment and they want information and they don't want to come to your dealership, how can we use that to our advantage, similar to how Netflix has used it to the advantage that consumers wanted to stay at their house and not have to drive to a movie store to pick up a video. Hopefully you learned a lot today, saw what we're able to do in terms of the reporting. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thank you very much for your time today.